I used to be young and innocent, but at least you have that history.
I was never innocent either, but I was more innocent back then. Naive almost might be a better word for it.
Yeah, I think that was everyone.
Yeah. And the youth has trained us well.
For sure. So where are you now? You're in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you always lived there?
Paradise. No, just the last 4 years.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been a real blessing. It makes this lifestyle that I've been working on a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, almost effortless, almost like stupid to not be on a live foods diet because it's
I was just going to say, right? You're sort of in Fruit Island.
Yeah, basically. So
Is it hard?
It helps me to understand a lot more about all the limitations. I mean, I was able to do it, but I was very focused and educated. And I know that over the last 10 years since I started on YouTube, the food supply system as a weapon against humanity has gotten even a lot worse. The food supply is tainted. The quality has dropped so low that an orange here is real food, and an orange there picked 2 or 3 weeks too early, you know, is not really that great. So
sure,
my heart out to the world, you know.
Yeah. Is it hard to find a non-GMO papaya?
Here,
where you are?
No, everybody here, all the farmers hate GMOs here, just because DuPont and Monsanto have their little spots on the other side of the island. It actually strengthened the real farmers
movement
to keep it organic and real, and so it really just pushed for more quality within this small little community that we have of farmers here to grow really quality food.
Sure. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Seattle originally.
Okay, cool.
And then cruised up and down the West Coast until I came here.
Okay. And is your family into the raw food?
My whole family now is. At first, they thought I was crazy. My ex-wife is a total raw foodist. My daughter, both of my daughters have adopted a lot more raw foods. My dad drinks juice every day. My brothers all own juicers. My sisters all own juicers. And my stepmom has gone from the queen of Christmas and Thanksgiving turkeys and pies to being a raw foodist. After I gave her, lose a pound a day for Christmas, she watched it and she said to my dad, "You're going to make me juice every day." So they started juicing every day, and she lost 60 pounds in 60 days. So she's one of my better testimonials for your own stepmom. You know,
did she just juice, or she was also eating raw food?
Well, she went mostly raw. She did a little cheating here and there, but she went like about 98% raw, and has kept the weight off since, and completely.
Very cool.
My dad is still trucking along, so I think that's just from the daily juicing habit, bringing that life force, keeping cells alive in spite of meat and Coca-Cola and lots of other drugs, to pharmaceutical type.
Yeah, I hear you. My family thought that I was nuts at the beginning too, and now I have a sister who just finished studying naturopathy, an older sister in holistic nutrition. My father ended up recovering from a lot of health problems. I mean, he still eats kind of bad. It's sort of hard to change our fathers, I think. But in general, he's more into health. My mom's mostly vegan. So yeah, it's been a nice ride for sure.
Isn't it funny how the light spreads?
And all the people who thought I was crazy when I was sick and they were like this weird quack, they're all writing me now, 7 years later, they have health problems. So it's nice. It was definitely a big shift of consciousness to healing and all that.
Yeah, well, it's coming for all of those who resist this, the detoxification, regeneration of tissue, and the facing of the pain, because nobody wants to face the pain. So they go back to the heavier foods, but their day will come and they will write to us. And so it's better to turn it around now and understand what we're doing. And that when you go on these lighter diets, you're going to regenerate the living tissue. And then that's going to bring more awareness around the dead tissue. the acid crystals and the calcareous deposits. And that's what everyone tries to avoid. And so when we go raw and we start waking those things up, then that's when we start to feel all the pain and all the acid crystals and all the heavy metals and the uric acids. And that's what gets uncomfortable for people. Then they go back to the heavier foods and bring back, lower that life force energy. And then they don't feel it anymore, but it's still building within them. And as soon as those stimulants one day are going to stop working, and it's usually in people get a hold in their 50s and 60s. When I notice that they get
I have a question for you. So this is something I see a lot in people that are dealing with raw food. It's one of the biggest deterrents, I think, and it's also why a lot of people are going towards the carnivore diet and those kinds of things, is that fructose malabsorption. I think that's a really big issue for people. So in terms of a raw food diet, what are your thoughts on people that specifically have like severe inability to process fructose, and they end up with like debilitating pain, diarrhea, they can't keep food in? Like, what about, people that have that? People talk about it a bit online too, but I was just wondering what your thoughts on transitioning to a raw diet for people that happen to be dealing with that issue.
After a lifetime of I think a lifetime of fried oils and starchy carbohydrates definitely harden masses of mucus, inhibit the ability for the cell to absorb that sugar for sure. So cooked food always ends up being the problem, and so that malabsorption, it just takes a lot of time. And usually we have to use a lot of steamed vegetables, raw vegetables, which are less aggressive cleansers, until we can get them off the fried oils, the cooked oils. And that's what clogs up and chokes out the body's inability to absorb the fructose in fruit, which is really a great source of energy. And once you get the ability to absorb sugar from vegetables and fruit, that's when you can get off the coffee and all the other stimulants. So people say all the time that, if you're on a live foods diet, that you need a lot of supplementation. That's not true at all. I don't need any supplements. I do use some herbs and things like that. And I do have a lot of alchemy for sick clients. I think it's dangerous for a lot of people to put down the use of herbs and other supplements for people that are sick and dying. I just wanted to point that out. I saw a lot of that yesterday. And so when we're dealing with these people that are in stage 4 or have diabetes and stuff, some of these supplements can be the difference between life and death. And so I think it's important that we all realize that once you get into a state of real health, it's actually your mind that actually is the most potent and powerful resource that you have for radiant health. But you have to actually get to that level by removing all the obstructions and having that experience of eating food that is clean and pure and untainted. And also the fasting is extremely beneficial. Then when you can get out all the addictions, because the microorganisms, they control your brain until you control them. And most people that I've noticed have not been able to control the microbes in their gut. They're very powerful, very intelligent, far more intelligent than we are. In fact, they are our intelligence, until we get to the point where we realize that we can consciously use our mind and that intelligence of life to move our mind and focus it on God. Then we can absorb that divine intelligence, and then we can begin to understand the microbiology. Then we can begin to cultivate that garden of the gut. And if we have the potential, a lot of us don't, because of the antibiotics and the cesarean sections and the vaccines. It's so diminished that I don't know if we're going to be able to regenerate, how much regeneration of the gut microbiome we can have within one generation. I've done a lot of work on mine, and I've seen a lot of potential of the fire of happiness is kind of in the gut. You can really regenerate the gut and have that fire of happiness if you have that diversity and you eat the proper wholesome foods. Didn't you have if you want to talk, didn't you have the what do they call that?
FMT?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of different things for my microbiome in terms of trying to regulate it. So I had my appendix removed when I was 12, and then I went on a series of antibiotic treatments for chronic health problems. I mean, we're talking 3-week intravenous antibiotics over and over and over again. I probably took like 200 courses of antibiotics in my life. And so I just completely destroyed my gut. And with a history of an eating disorder, I had to basically retrain my gut on how to even digest food. So I had like a nightmare gut situation. And I was actually able to get my digestion working, not 100%, but probably about 85%, which, with a history of like colitis, IBS, and, it was a miracle. And just have occasional bloating and some food intolerance and stuff. And I was able to do that just through diet alone, honestly, through nutrition and through diet and through detoxification and fasting and those kinds of things, focusing on stomach acid. And then I did an FMT experimentally in more recent times to see how that would affect my body and my gut further. My gut was doing pretty well. It's like what you say. I don't know if anybody has a perfect gut, and I mean, in today's environment, what I learned from my FMT experience was less for me to actually treat my gut symptoms and more because I wanted to see what effect it would have and whether it was something I could refer to clients who weren't really responding to diet or who had so many intolerances that they would fast and then, eat right after their fast and all their symptoms would come back, even long extended fasting. And so I was looking for something for people that were formula fed and that don't have appendixes and who just can't colonize the gut microbiome, who have histamine issues and can't actually eat any fermented foods or, have gut problems and can't tolerate salicylates, oxalates. Like they can't even eat a microbiome rich or feeding diet. In other words, like raw foods and fibrous foods and even cooked vegetables. So I went to do that experiment. And what I learned was that probiotics, virtually all of them, don't actually colonize the gut. So they work while you take them, but their ability to actually colonize the intestines is really minimal, partially because of stomach acid. Also, when you have overgrowths, like what you were talking about in the mucosa, and you have sludge in the intestines, and you have biofilms and all the yeast and a colony of so many different types of undesirables, even if you get an FMT, like they're combating your current microbiome, which is so deeply infiltrated, not just in the gut, but everywhere systemically. And so my results from FMT were that, yes, I did feel right away when I got the treatments happier, just automatic. And I'm a generally happy person. Like I've healed my body to a point. I wouldn't say I'm an unhappy person. Like I'm generally happy, but not that like what you were talking about, the fire of bliss where you're just kind of deliriously happy to be alive all the time. That's not something I've felt really consistently since childhood. So I went and tried the FMT and I did get little rushes of that, but it didn't seem to really last. And I think it just depends on your body and your stress levels. Like I wouldn't say that for me personally, the FMT experience, at least the one that I had done, was the be all and end all. Now, I don't have any chronic diseases anymore. Like I don't have any chronic serious health problems. So maybe if I was very sick, it might have made a larger difference. Like maybe that's why it wasn't, the end of the world for me. But I did definitely see results in terms of my ability to process certain vegetables and fruits that I was having issues with. And overall less inflammation. So I started thriving a little bit more, better on a vegan diet. But I wouldn't say that those were symptoms that I noticed in the first several months after having it done. And then it sort of like diminished into a place where I just basically think I feel good. I have good health. I have no complaints. I used to be chronically sick with 4 diseases. Like I don't have any of that anymore. But I agree with the fact that gut bacteria, not only am I not sure if we can fully heal the gut to the point where we have a type of gut microbiome that our like ancestors or great grandparents had and the many generations before that, because I think bacteria adapt to pollution. And even if you have the same strain of bacteria, let's say L. gasseri, it'll have morphed and changed and adapted to the current chemicals and to what was exposed in your body and to the other superbug pathogens that are in the environment. So I don't know if having a perfect microbiome is really a possibility. And I think that good health it's a mental decision in a lot of ways. And it's basically your way of honoring your body by eating nutritious foods and taking care of your body and sleeping enough and keeping stress levels down. And I think for most people, focusing on eating a clean diet, doing the best you can with, fixing and altering your gut microflora and living a healthy life, that's kind of the key to achieving the optimal health. And I agree that fasting is huge. Fasting is really the thing that can kick it over the edge for people. So I would say that, yeah, definitely between fasting, the FMT, and a clean diet, that was really what, for me, I think stick out as being really good options for people.
Wow.
Sorry, that was kind of a long rant. What happened to Josh? Josh, are you still there?
I'm here. I guess we started, right?
Sorry, we just kind of started ranting there, but
that was the female version of the Liferegenerator
Yeah.
rant. And that was brilliant. And
you.
you are beautiful. And that is awesome what you do. Wow. You're talking my language. It's like, praise the Lord. I'm not the alien that I feel like I am. Like you got it. You know what I mean? And then of course there's so much more, but what I found, I am absolutely obsessed with microbiology, the microbiome right now. I spend 2 to 4 hours every day in the bathtub over here while I'm, drinking my juice, watching videos. And the one thing that I learned was that it is the environment. We actually breathe them in, microorganisms. So even if you don't have an appendix, which I might want to ask you some more questions. I've got a client right now. We've been just working the mystery,
Yeah.
But one thing, what I did to get that fire going in my life, of course, the 40-day water fast was the reset button. And I haven't had any cravings ever since. And then I've been on just plain, basic, simple yogi diet, which I've been working on for years, which is just plain, simple, basic fruits, juices, and salads without any spices or salt or anything, so that I can really focus on meditation. So that's the context for anybody who's curious about, you go into different levels of health, and then pretty soon the body is just more of a vehicle for self-realization. Of course, it has to be well, but for the people that are working with the microbiome, what I've found is to get your butt outside into all these different environments and get mud on your body, get dirt, water, rivers, oceans, jungles, grass plains, and just breathe in the grass dust. And of course, if you have like overclogged immune system and you're like, I have allergies, it's really just more like an overloaded immune system, your lymphatic system. And so this healing these days, right now, what we're seeing is just that people have to just go back to the neutralization. They can't really go to these higher levels of energy and consciousness. Thank God my generation is kind of like the last generation where there's just a little bit of hope.
It sounds so bad, but it's true. Yeah.
Well, we are dying, and it's a representation of the Price Pottinger cat experiments. The 4th generation of cooked cats could no longer reproduce, and they were just gangly and sick, and their coat was terrible, and their jaw shrank. And then the raw cats that ate raw meat and raw milk were indefinitely reproducing. And so living foods, and now we're finally at that 4th generation, and all of our children are being born sick.
Yeah.
And, we've got so many things against us. We've got the conspiracy is there, the psychopaths that are running the medical establishment and all that type of thing, and the vaccines. If you're still believing that, you're dumber than a pile of dog doo-doo. You know what I mean? And
sure.
So that's fine. I don't mean to offend anyone. We've all been brainwashed to the hilt. It's our responsibility to dig deep and find out, where do the vaccines grow on trees, that kind of thing. And if it doesn't, then you need to realize something, that it might not be a part of original God's plan. But I haven't really mentioned that in a long time, but it's just getting to the point where I'm almost ready to just take my hands off. And I don't really want to be out there in public anymore, because it's for the average person without an incredibly high level of awareness and determination and, connection to spirit. it's pretty much not going to work, because
What's not going to work?
health, it's just not. I mean, people won't move from the toxic cities. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. It's like everyone talks about food. Some people talk about water. Nobody talks about the air, but the air is actually, because we know now, not only is the energy of life in the air and the information in the air, but also one of the ways that we continually re-inoculate ourselves every day with beneficial life-giving microorganisms and keep that system balanced is by breathing them in. So if you're trying to get healthy and your wife has dysbiosis and you're some dude, you're dying of a heart attack or whatever, you're 47 and having heart problems, and you want to change, but your wife doesn't. She's like, I'm not going to stop eating candy bars and cheeseburgers. You're going to be breathing the same air as her. You're going to kiss her, hug her, and you're going to be wondering, why can't I change? Why can't I quit eating these cheeseburgers and stuff? And you're going to have to see the subtleties that are the laws of life. It makes it very difficult. I'm not saying get a divorce, but I'm just saying you might have to realize that, well, okay, there's only a little bit that I can do. For those of us who like have a purpose and a mission that goes above and beyond everything on earth, like mine is, if it doesn't completely line up with self-realization and God consciousness and that journey to get to the top of the mountain, I can't have it. So I can only have like a few friends. I can't have the social life. I got to keep my business at a minimum because I cannot get distracted. And that's the reason why, like the food thing, it's absolutely imperative that I stay on the yogi diet. And I have a lot of room for improvement. Like right now I'm addicted to salads, and that's kind of they're heavy and they're keeping me from being able to really, when I eat light at night, the meditations at 4 in the morning are so much clearer. And so it's like, you're addicted to salads, I hate you, you know. It's like, and I don't even put anything on them except avocado and lemon juice and some herbs and stuff like that, but they're still just too heavy. So my guru is constantly like, eat fruit, you know, so that you can, at this point, and I know that that's not for everyone, because not everyone wants to be thin and just clear and bright and just tuned in to the highest frequency, you know. But so I'm kind of getting less and less accessible to people, and I do wish that I could be of service, but you know, just the social media and stuff is getting more and more toxic, and I hate to say that, but it's just really like that energy. It usually takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to recover energetically from any video that I make, with the cords that attach into my back, and then I got to spend weeks clearing that out. And then I can get back to that clarity and that purity, where it's just, because energy in this universe is real, and staying dialed into the God is the most important thing. I mean, there's no real point that I'm just ranting myself. You know?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to ask you another question on that front, but let's just introduce ourselves. How about that? 21 minutes. Yeah. Oops. I'm Josh Mason from the Detox Dudes. This is
I'm Brittany from Montreal Healthy Girl.
And I'm Dan, the Liferegenerator.
All righty. This is the first time that Brittany and Dan have met. I've known Dan for a couple of weeks, and I've known Brittany for a year or two, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, okay, let's get back into it. So I wanted to ask you, when you make a video, what is it that you feel? What kind of energy is it that you feel coming your way? Is there a way that you think you could have total integrity during the filming of the video so that nothing is coming in?
Are you asking me, Josh?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm humbled, and I'm glad that you brought this up, because it'll give me a chance to heal.
Yeah.
When I watched my last video about the vegan diet's killing me, of course, clickbait, you know, it works, 33,000 views. But I noticed that I didn't say anything derogatory towards anyone, and I haven't in 10 years on the internet. I have never put anyone down. I will pay anyone $500 to find a comment where I said something negative and put the human being down. So thankfully, that's me. But here's the thing. I think I put myself down, and even though I didn't say anything derogatory, like meat eaters are a bunch of dumbasses, you know, that are killing the planet. I didn't say anything like that. But what I saw after that video was that I have this automatic unconscious defense against Christians, vegans, and carnivores because of who I am. I mean, I'm a Christian yogi. Okay, now that's going to confuse a lot of people. I'm a Christian yogi who believes in living foods. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in religion. I just believe in the light of God. So in other words, what I'm saying is that I know already, and it must be my own fear that I need to put out these subconscious defense mechanisms against all these different groups of people. And I do that, and I take responsibility. And my girlfriend and I, we watched my other video. She's an extremely enlightened human being. And she just said, the difference between this video, one that I just made here with a couple of buddies of mine that are having gut problems, and compared to that one where it's a solo rant, where I'm just like, I have these unconscious defense mechanisms, and then I'm attracting all this hate from carnivores, even though I never said anything derogatory. It's actually coming from my own subconscious. So I'm going to work on that and just learn to really accept who I am. I'm a wingnut, dude. I am one of a kind Christian yogi, live foodist, whose whole life is everything revolves around the realization of God as self. Nothing else even interests me. What am I going to do with all the money? What am I going to do with fame? What am I going to do with any of it? None of that leads to the overwhelming joy. And that's the realization of what you really are as an eternal being. That's my way of seeing it right now. And the more eternal consciousness that I bring into myself, the happier and freer I become. And so I'm really working on freeing myself from the ego, basically. And so I take responsibility. And I apologize to everyone for, you know, just being human, which is totally ridiculous, but you know, it's very challenging to be enlightened, but I do give myself credit for 10 years of testicular fortitude. I've been hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered, and I still haven't really been able to make total peace with who I am and accept one day I'm like this, the next day I'm like this, one day I'm in a good mood, you know, and accept myself completely as a human being, flesh, heart, mind, and spirit, you know? And that's what I'm working on right now. So I can be at peace and really send that out. Because you know, when there's a master and they're at peace, when someone's at peace, you know it. And it is truly rare. But that's what we want. We want to really embrace ourselves, be at peace so we can transmit that to others. And I'm working at every level to be able to be that. So thank you for asking.
Yeah. I think it's tough to be, you know, in the public light, and also, you know, because so much of that peace and that inner seat that we sit in doesn't have to do with language and doesn't have to do with words, right? So a lot of times, if you're really at peace, you'd literally just stare at the YouTube, stare at the camera, and just, you know, send your love to everyone, right? So a lot of as we try and create more awareness of toxicity and all of these issues, you know, our flaws and stuff come out, you know, our desires and all of our things all of our agendas, right? All of our games come out, but that's part of being human. We you know, I'm not enlightened yet, that's for sure. But, you know, just balancing that teaching and preaching versus just internalizing and sitting in that seat of love, you know, I think that's a delicate dance.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think that I've definitely had my fair share of public backlash too. So there's definitely a hard hit to that. And I understand the humanity in it and all of that, and how draining being in a health field on some level can be. But I guess the way that I see it is, and I'm not gonna say that I'm, you know, massively enlightened, or that I'm, you know, that I have it all figured out or anything like that. Quite the opposite. But I think that for me, what I've found is that my own sense of suffering, almost my lack of peace, like my desire to find peace and my desire to try to find what makes sense, that's sort of what fuels my passion for the information that I share with people. And so I find for me, like I've never personally really found, I find some of the comments I get in response to my videos can be, draining and hurtful, but I've never really found the act of making videos or putting information out there draining. I get excited to share some of the things that I'm sharing with people. And I think that a lot of that comes from just the suffering that I did have. And so, when people attack me, I realize that they're coming from a place of suffering too. And it might not always be what we're putting out. Like, Dan, I've seen a lot of your videos and you put out some pretty happy vibes, so I think it's easy to internalize when people react negatively to our stuff, but there's a world full of people out there that we have to remember. Like, I wasn't my best self when I was sick, and I deal with chronic disease. So everybody that reaches out to me, or most of them, are not in their best places or anywhere close to it, and they're not bad people. And, some people are kinder than others, but we're dealing with a world of chemical toxicity. People are heavily vaccinated. They are heavy metal toxic. They're deficient and they don't make proper neurotransmitters. Their guts are imbalanced and they have chronic inflammation, which depletes your happy hormones, and livers that can't process all the chemicals they come in contact with, and they're not sleeping properly. And so I think that, though that's not everybody, I think that the message that all three of us are sharing in our respective differences and similarities are all really important for helping people. And I think that when people take the time to write a negative comment or even to attack you, I think that there's a really real reason they're doing that. And a lot of it is because you've shaken something in them. Like, if I read something ridiculous, let's say someone says to me, an apple is poison. Like, it doesn't hit any of my belief systems. Like, it's so ridiculous, I wouldn't even comment to it most of the time. I would just be like, oh, this is so stupid. But, if someone says something that creates fear in me or makes me think, oh my God, this might be true, or quakes the very belief system that I have, like, it makes me question something and that makes me afraid, I might attack that person for trying to bring awareness that I wasn't emotionally or spiritually ready for. So I see the people attacking as just a sign that on some level you've affected them in a positive way, because just for someone to get angry enough to defend themselves means that they're on some level, they must be in some way doubting what you're saying, because they're fighting you and they're trying to prove you wrong because they need you to be wrong for them to feel safe and okay. And that's kind of a sad thing when they're attacking people that are sharing natural healing, because this is the way to wellness. It's the only way to health, is actually to detoxify, cleanse, and nutrify yourself. So it's, the way I look at it is, the haters are the people that are really aggressive for me. And I think to myself, how sad, I'm trying to help them. And I wish I could help them and I can't, So rather than feeling drained, it's like, I feel so blessed to know this information and that the things I learned resonated with me and I was able to save myself. But you can't save everyone. So it's about, I guess, trying not to take it too personally and just always being true to who you are. Like, you're doing the right thing, and you're sharing your truth. And that's really the most honorable existence that there is. And not everybody has to resonate with that truth, but it's still important to always stay true to it.
Oh, beautiful. Dan, before you go, Dan, Brittany, can your lighting and me and Dan are right in front of the camera, and you're there's 2 feet above your head of space. Could you just move closer and then maybe change the lighting a little bit? It's not a huge deal, but
sure, no problem. Hold on.
I guarantee there's a couple people watching.
It's because it's really the lighting. I don't know if this is better.
Yeah, that is better. Before you were just light, which is cool. You are it's cool to see your face and facial expressions.
I wanted to see. I thought this was a conversation on enlightenment. Okay, yeah. I was trying to physically manifest it.
Are you comfortable like that? Is that cool?
I'm super comfortable. Yeah, okay. Remember I told you I'm actually more comfortable because I was trying to sit upright and it was putting stress on my rib. Okay. Then I don't know if obviously you don't know there, but I actually cracked my rib about a week ago, so I'm recovering.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm conscious living. No.
You can go ahead, Dan. I know you're about to say something there.
Oh, I really appreciate that. All that you just shared there. And, I guess one of the greatest things I'm going through in my healing right now is really embracing who I really am. I mean, I've just honestly never really been able to be my full true self on the internet. And that's what I've really loved about being here in Hawaii, is that I am surrounded by, you know, the crazy people, and they're all very unique. And we all come here. Like yesterday, I spent 4 hours just drumming straight at this ecstatic dance, you know. So all these crazy hippies, free spirits, you know, that are just really being themselves. So my real life, the real life is so crazy because, you know, I've never had one single negative experience related to YouTube in real life. Not one. In fact, the same people that are my haters on the internet will sit there and just kiss my little booty all day long when I show up at the event and stuff like that. And so I'm just like, wow. So never in my whole entire life have I had any negative experience in real life. There's like 20 people on the island right now that want to meet me and hang out and be my friend. And all my friends here, they just love me. I make all this food. I play the awesome music. I inspire everyone to get healthy and eat healthier and take care of themselves, keep thinking about God. And then there's the internet. So it's just so difficult because in real life, like I have my buddies over here the other day, one of them's addicted to sugar, one of them's addicted to meat. And I was such a different person when they were here talking to them as real people. I did make a video, and it was just, I was so much more calm. I wasn't saying you're a jerk for eating, you know, animals and all this stuff. I just tried to help him where he was at. And so real life, I'm really, really good at real life, and I've never been very good at the internet. I've just never been good because there's thousands of people, and I know exactly what to say to somebody by their body language, what's in their eyes, their level of consciousness, the words that they use. And so the internet is like, it's like almost an egomaniac of like, hey, here's what I think for me. And it's like, I would never be that in real life. I always go right to where the people are, and I'm so comfortable with that. And I'm so gentle with people. I never judge, criticize, or hate anyone. My message, above and beyond the food, is always been love. It'll always be that. I still believe in it. I still live by it. And it's been a miracle in my life.
I don't know if there's any way to be good at the internet, right? I mean, no matter what you do, if you're talking about natural health, you're going to piss a lot of people off, right? And then it's so easy for someone to make a comment that it can mean nothing to them. You know, they could be saying you're a total piece of shit, whatever, but it means nothing to them. You know, they're just upset because their girlfriend just broke up with them, or anything else, you know, that happened in their life. So I don't know if it's possible to be a real force of light and not have hate, you know? So when you say you're not good at the internet, I don't even know what is good at the internet, you know?
Well, I don't know, but if you guys figure it out, please give me a course, because I think I could use some of that. Yeah, I don't think, first of all, it's really hard. And it's funny, we do videos on YouTube technically for free for people. And I mean, there are like real life celebrities that actually have a lot more followers and viewers than all three of us combined. And they get like nonstop hate. You guys see those articles and those newspapers, and we're just talking artists that are sharing, you know, their talent in that way and whatever. But there's no way to please everybody. And I think that it's sort of like when a singer's on a stage and she's singing out there, she's feeling how wonderful it is to have that talent. She's feeling like, you know, the excitement of being up there on stage, but there's a light flashing in her face and she doesn't really actually see much of the audience itself. So she's sort of singing out into nothingness. The same is true for what we're doing. What we're doing is, I mean, the motivation for doing this isn't even making sure people receive it. And that was something I actually had to learn that was really hard for me to accept, was that just because you say something that you might even really fully know or believe to be the truth, at least for you and for what you've seen and experienced in your life and with others, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be well received. Like, we're not in control of the receiving part of it. We're only in control of the giving and sharing. Like, the sun puts rays down here, but it doesn't control, you know, who puts sunscreen on their skin and how much concrete is in the city. And so how many waves are being shot back, and right. Like, it's just the sharing of it is the love part. And so I think that's like, very few people, you're right. I know a lot of people who are like, you know, oh, I know that the oceans are filled with plastic straws, but, you know, it's just really convenient to use a plastic straw, so I'm just going to use it anyway. There's a lot of people that are like, what is my one contribution going to do in a failing world? And I think it's really honorable what we do. And I'm really proud every day of what I do. And I love both of you guys and what you do too. And so many other people, even people that don't have a big following, that are just sharing what worked for them. You know, even just the person who gets on YouTube and is like, this is my before and after picture of when I was obese and I, you know, changed my diet. And it's taking the time to try to help anyone and to expose yourself and to be vulnerable and to share what's true for you. And, you know, especially considering that life is a learning curve and that the information you share today, you might learn new things and have to share something different a year from now. It's like you're chronically exposing yourself to you're exposing your own development and learning and expansion and personal growth as a human publicly, you know, and for sure it puts us in a position to get a backlash, but it's like, it's something to feel really proud of, I think. And a lot of people either don't care enough to do it, are too shy to do it, or just don't have they weren't lucky enough to come across knowledge that they feel would really benefit people on a wide scale. Though I do believe everybody has an important contribution that they could share. But so yeah, I don't know. I think that being good on the internet, that's not, I don't know anybody who's good on the internet. I see something, you know, I think that everybody in the world that does videos, even the nicest, most edited ones, they all feel like they could do things better or differently, right? It's the human flaw. We're never really fully confident or happy with ourselves. So, yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I have a confession to make. I mean,
Sure.
Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, my numbers are right there, consistent year after year. I have a 97% approval rate. So it's just like, it's like literally like on all my videos, likes, comments, it's 97% approval. It's like, so it's just those little 2 or 3%. And they're smart because they sit around all day and do nothing but watch videos. So they're expert video watchers, commenters, and they know right where to get you. Because if you're a human being, you know, you have, you know, like even if you're a man who's like me and you just come so far, those unconscious patterns that are in there, they're just in there, and everybody's sensitive. And I try to be sensitive to people like that. I mean, within me, there is a little boy who got his heart broken and his face smashed in, you know, and that is still here. You know, I still have that, and that is what gets triggered. I mean, the sage is there too, telling me exactly what you're saying. All these things, you're just being light. You can't really be good at the internet. It's just their own reflection. And the sage is there too, you know. And then there's the man, and he wants to like, come on, sucker, what you got? Let's see it in real life. Come here and talk to me to my face, because I've never had a hater in my face in 10 years. So it can't really be real. And there was one other thing that you shared with that made me want to say that got me inspired, and I've been sad because I have 3 things that I do to channel God. And one of them is make food, and I'm known for that. And one of them is music, and the other one is making these videos when I get into the zone. And I've been making a lot of food. I make juice, deliver it. I make food for hundreds of people. So I've got that channel. I've got the music channel I'm like the drummer on this island. And so the YouTube has taken less of I've needed it less. When I first started, it was my one channel for expression. But the thing is it does reach like 5,000 or 10,000 people. And so there's this part of me that's like, that's pretty good, dude. If you could say something good to somebody today, because like I was suicidally depressed. I am very happy and fulfilled, you know, and I was terrible at relationships. I have a fantastic relationship. My health suffered, and I was addicted to drugs and food. And now I'm just like able to be what people consider like disciplined to the hilt. So I know that I've got something to share, and I definitely want to share and give hope and use this social media. So that's why I've been, you've noticed me, I'm halfway in and halfway out. I don't know if anyone's noticed, I've been halfway in and most of the way out since I got to this island 4 years ago. And I took a 6 months break, and I've never really been back to being the Liferegenerator since then. It's more been like, okay, I got to pay the bills for my kids and that kind of thing. And my heart, I haven't been able to get back into it the way that I was. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get back to, I mean, I've been here, but only you see me, but I'm not really here. I make the video, I don't even watch it, I slap it up and I never look at it again. I'm not really that engaged in my YouTube community because of the negativity, and then the zip, 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 zip being blasted constantly, and it was really affecting my own spiritual growth. And so it's actually been helpful for spiritual growth in one hand, but the world, you know, there's such a lack of peace. There's so much war and dissent and anger. And I don't stand for those things. I stand for unity. And in my real life, I never attack anyone for anything. And so I'm just really just trying to kind of heal myself here through this video and just admit. So if you've got any more of that advice, I'll take it.
Well, I don't know if this is going to help, and I don't know if it could be considered advice, but I definitely understand how you feel. And I do want to say that you're not the only person that feels that way. And it's easy to say, you know, we should all have a tough skin and we should just put our truth out there. But it does hurt when people attack back. And I have found, you know, at the beginning when I first started my channel, I would read 10 or 100 nice comments of people saying thank you. So I would read one comment like, you're ugly or you're stupid. I'd spend the rest of the night crying. People hate me, you know? And that was hard. And that took me a long time. That and honestly support from my family and stuff at the time. And a lot of that kind of happened at the beginning of my channel. So I felt discouraged. But what I find really difficult, and, you know, in a similar way for me as to how you're feeling, is not so much the hate from people, which I actually get a lot of, but you know, on some level, especially because of the holistic advice that I share about chronic disease reversal, people really, I get a lot of like, you know, pro-vaxxers that attack me and people that are pro-chemo and big pharma. And I've had a lot of like threats. I've dealt with threats to my life. I've dealt with, you know, threats to shut down my videos. I've had to take down about 50 or 20 of my videos. I've been threatened with astronomical fines. I've had people show up at my house. I've had people, there was an article, like 5 or 6 articles put out, extremely slanderous articles about me and my belief systems, where a lot of things I said were taken out of context, and they called me a murderer on the news. Like there was just a lot of things that were really difficult. And I think that coming through that, I realized that we can't, you know, at the end of the day, if I would consider it a failure if I stopped sharing my truth just because I hit roadblocks or because I was being, you know, threatened, or people weren't happy, or people were taking jabs. And it doesn't mean that the jabs don't hurt. It doesn't mean that I didn't seriously think, oh my God, you know, or question what I was doing and whether or not it was worth it. Because like you said, the world isn't all super receptive to it, right? So it's a big risk to put your stuff out there. And I guess I think that for you, if your goal is finding peace and reconnecting, then maybe not making YouTube a priority for a while is fine. Like that might be what is best for you. But I personally think that you shine and you glow anyways. And I think that sharing whatever it is that you have to share is worth it. And so, I mean, I just think that instead of trying to be like the shining light that you think you need to be, and feeling that you've taken a step back for 4 years and all of that, like instead of feeling like you somehow lost your mojo, or maybe that's not the right term, but like that's kind of how I felt after all my attacks. I was like, oh my God, I'm a bit fearful now to even, I have to watch what I say. I have to disclaimer all my stuff. Like I don't have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and do I want to lose my life over this? And, you know, my family was all telling me, stop doing what you're doing. This is crazy. Like you're trying to save the world. They don't even want to be saved. You know, I come from like a background of pessimists, as we can tell. No, they're not that bad. But so it was hard, right? It was kind of like shocking. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, this is what I have a passion for. And I think you have a really amazing passion for living. And so those little jabs, like I would just not really read the comments or not really do that stuff. And when you feel inspired to share. Or what you could do instead is do like what I see a lot of people do on YouTube. I actually don't know how to do it, but I'd love to do it. I'll look into it, is like a live stream where people specifically sign up and they ask you things. So when someone says a hater comment, you have the option to sort of address it right away or bring humanity to it. And I think the hard part about YouTube is that people are attacking you and they're saying like, you know, things you said out of context, and they're like really saying hurtful, often untrue comments about you, and you don't have a right to defend yourself. It's like a one-sided conversation that makes you look and feel really bad. That's what hurts. That's what's hard. So I think that doing more live streams or doing like a, you know, a jokey kind of video where you like address some of that stuff. You're like, hey, Mr. Angry Tomato Face, like whatever their little hashtag thing is. Just be like, you said that, you know, I was angry and that I don't like whatever. I just wanted to let you know it's not true. Make almost like a parody video about it, or just, you know, I don't know. But just remember that like it's easy to be mean when you're behind a screen. But like you said, no one's ever mean to your face. And that's because the majority of the world actually loves you, probably more than you love yourself. And the same is true for all of us. So it's, you know, I certainly know that I never watched a single one of your videos. I never even read the comments or saw a negative comment. I always saw you as just, you know, really being enlightened and really being on the raw path. And I really admired your fortitude in doing long fasts and, you know, being an indulgent person myself. I was like, wow, look at him go. He's like doing all this cool stuff. So it helped inspire me a lot to do my long fast and all that. So, but yeah, I think that share your music with the world, share your talent with the world, do what feels right for you, and just do it if it feels right, and try not to, you know, feel that you're not doing it the way that you used to, because I think that we grow and evolve and change, and that's okay.
What you said, you know, what I've noticed is that in my real life, if someone has a problem, I always go right to them. The first thing I do, I keep the energy in my real life, I keep it clean. Some guy says, you know, you broke my drum. I go right there. He shows me the crack. Here's $300. Now I own this drum. I always do that. I go right to everyone. Whenever there's a problem, accusation, I go right to them and I face it and I get it cleared. And you cannot do that on the internet. You can't go, hey, you know, I'm 44 and I look 44 because I did a lot of drugs. You know, we all can't be a Lou Corona or a Marcus Rothkrantz. I'm going to do my little confession here. The ones that hurt me the most are the skinny comments, because I've been teased for that all my life. And I am thin. And even if I ate pigs and cows, I'd still be skinny, you know? And then I'd have all that in me, and I don't want that. So I've
seen you shirtless in videos. You're not like that skinny. I mean, you're not abnormally skinny. You're like, well, I mean, you're like naturally, you know, like Bruce Lee was kind of thin too, but he was like agile and fit.
If it's a wound from childhood, it doesn't matter how actually thin you are, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, bird chest, skeleton man. The ladies don't seem to mind. I was beating them off with a stick. They're half my age, and I'm like, look, my daughter's as old as you. And they're like, yeah, but there's no dudes my age like you. They're all fat and out of shape, and they stink. And you're a badass. You know what I'm saying? And you got your act together, and you're radiating this light. Now, of course, I chose one divine woman, thank God, because it makes it a lot easier. But so in the real life, all the things that are on the internet are not really real. And so there's this, it almost makes you kind of cuckoo. And so I've been really trying to embrace my real life and really let that absorb in. Like, dude, everybody loves and respects you, you know, in your real life. And then those little things on the internet, you don't have that option of facing your accusers, you know. And so you basically have to take that in, and you have nothing to do about it. You know, you can't go to them and look them in the eyes and say, hey man, you know, I'm thin, I always have been, or whatever. I did a lot of drugs, so I look my age, you know what I mean? And so those are the things that affect me the most, like the way I look. And so they attack me on that, and that really hurts me. That's my vulnerable spot. And it feels good to actually share that today, because I've kind of wanted to do that. And I mean, sure. The thing that goes through my mind is like, guess what? Every single one of us, no matter what our diet is going to get old, wrinkly, gray, and die. all of us. And usually the diet doesn't have that much to do with the aging. It's a lot of it's just family, genetics, mental states. I think the fasting is helpful for longevity, but I think that you're already kind of come in with a certain predisposition already for longevity. And so the diet is like, either you can have the consciousness. I like the living consciousness. My life is a living consciousness of living light. And I literally make friends with the animals. They understand me. Chickens are conscious. Pigs are extremely intelligent animals, and they come to me and I feed them coconuts. They don't go to anybody else because they can smell the flesh and they can see it in your aura. The animals are more awake than the human beings right now. And that is the truth. And I befriend these animals, ducks, chickens, cows, horses, pigs. They understand me way better. And the most happiest that I am is when I'm in the jungle and I'm silent and I'm listening to the wind and the river and the rustling of the trees and the wind. And so that's always my advice. We get online and we make videos telling everyone to get the hell offline and go outside and play. So I spend most of my time, which I will do all day today. My girlfriend and I, we are leaving because she's an internet slave herself. She's way more enlightened than me. She has like 200 subscribers, and that's all she wants, you know, because they are people that are for real, that really actually care about what she has to say. She actually makes all this art, and she downloads these 48 key codes for enlightenment. So she's an artist. This is the one she made for me right here, because I told her my greatest struggle is devotion. And this is the key code for devotion. And this is all 48. But anyway, so I kind of deal with more of the masses. And then other people have chosen to be more very specific. And I guess because back in the day when we first started 10 years ago, it was all about the numbers, you know, shock value. And I wanted to get the hell out of that. I wanted to get out of shock value and, you know, clickbait. I still do clickbait, sorry. But if I want people to watch and I feel like this is a cool video, I want to get a lot of views, I'll be like carnivores versus vegans, of which I believe in neither. You know what I mean? I just believe in the most high consciousness that you can be within the environment that you have. So I just the labels and all that just are a nightmare, because then you're boxed in, you can't breathe, you know, and then you're stuck. But see, I'm not stuck with live foods because I still do that. I still believe in it. If I thought any other way, I would, but thankfully I have friends like Lou Corona, Robert Morse, Tavis Bradley, that have all been doing this for 25, 30, 40, 45 years. I can call them up anytime that there's any doubt, and they'll be like, dude, you're tripping, bro. Stay on track, because they are, Tavis is a master, Lou is a master, Robert Morse is a master, and all these other dudes that are promoting all this, the bacon diets, they are not masters, okay? And so I'm going with the masters. Swami Sivananda, a great master, eat your fruit and meditate, you know? So I'm going with the masters. I'm going to the light. I'm bringing the light. I just want to be a channel for God's light, and that's it. That's all. I don't want anything else. That's all I want. God's going to have to feed me, pay my bills, and everything else. But I've seen what happens as I've grown and evolved through meditation, fasting, and living foods. You just go into a room and you bless everyone with the consciousness and experience that you have without saying a word. And when you get a taste of that, all you want to do is be as pure and wholesome and kind and loving as you can be, because it automatically, it's not about blah, 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 blah. It's a silent transmission. And so you work in the wee hours of the morning to purify your heart and clarify and simplify and quiet your mind so that you can be a vessel for the divine. There is no other greater thing that you could ever be. And that is my whole 100% commitment from this point in my life until I leave this place.
Well, that's amazing.
I was having a talk on Brittany and I's maybe first or second talk. We talked about, would we die for the mission? And I want to ask you the same question. Would you die for this mission?
Well, I've always thought about that. And when that day comes, I pray to God for the strength to make the right choice, to be true and be committed, even if I lose this body. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get tested with that.
Yeah.
In this life. I hope I don't need that test. I hope that God can see my heart already, and I don't need that test, because I don't want to fail that one.
Well, we hope so too.
You don't want to fail that test. And what you think and how you live is going to be what you get the next time around, because that energy, those thoughts, everything that's unclear, everything that's undone and unfinished within you is going to come back. And so give and serve and enhance your karma by being as pure and simple, and serve everyone and help everyone as much as you can, and be humble, so that you can have a more propitious birth, and so that you can even become, like Sivananda, he was just born into a family of saints, became a doctor, and then when it came time for him to go to the cave and finish the task, he didn't have like me, years of drugs and years of sex and porn, that I have to trudge through. I might not even make it in this life because there's so much junk in there. And so it's really like, continually cultivating like devotion and clarity and focus on, you got to keep your mind focused on the infinite. And that way everything else just, but I've got a lot of what they're called samskaras,
Exactly.
memories. And so I want to get through as many of those in this life as I can, purify. That's why when people are like 18 years on a raw diet and you're not purified yet, I'm not talking about my colon. I'm talking about my heart. I'm talking about my brain. You know what I'm saying? And then those things are what make up your spirit. That you can, is your spirit pure? Is your aura clean? Do you have anger? Like I used to have so much anger. I'm just like, wow, I haven't been angry in so long. After the water fast, it cleaned my nerves. From day 35 to 40, my nerves were being fried. I had an out-of-body experience. I had a past life regression right where the camera is, right here on this floor. And it showed me like what my next step was going to be. And I was this monk sitting in this room full of bricks with one candle, and I had a red robe and a yellow sachet, and I was meditating intensely. And then as soon as I had that, I knew that what I was supposed to do. This book came into my thing called Meditation and Concentration by Swami Sivananda. And nothing changed my life as profoundly as the daily intense meditation. Nothing has changed my life, and everything just has gotten better and better. And that's when the women started to come out of nowhere, because they could just see, because that meditation just makes you powerful, and it allows you to get clear and bright and have so much more energy. And it really helps you to, when you just sit and you meditate and you just focus on God, everything else falls away. The world gets lighter and lighter. I mean, these are the residues that we're talking about today of all this stuff, because I do want to be of service. And so the technology is difficult, but the flesh is not difficult. These laws of life, thankfully, what I've learned, it's not internet. You don't need to be on the internet. It's applicable in real life. The diet, the meditation, the purification, the simple. My life is so simple, it would kill people with boredom. But when you don't want anything except that, it's so much better. I remember the wantingness. It just drained me. I want this. I want a newer house. I want whatever. I want more YouTube subscribers. wanting is the worst feeling to me ever. I love just being right here. What can you do right now in this moment to serve yourself, others, life, and to just be happy instead of always just, oh God, that's the worst feeling. And I've just gotten rid of wantingness and replaced it with beingness. And because there's so much work to do in this moment on your mind and your heart to cultivate love and to clear away the debris, the cobwebs and the debris of the mind to where your mind is totally absorbed on what's really truly real, which is to me that eternal aspect of our being. Instead of the fears of the body, you know, we have the awareness of the infinite. And that has just been, this last year has been the most profound year in growth. And and you know what? It makes me want more, to meditate more, to get cleaner and simpler with the diet. And the reason why I haven't was because I was only eating to keep on weight, and I'm sick of it. I need to embrace, because even Buddha said the sage is a rack of bones. I'm so worried about the body that it's holding me back, and I really want to get over that. And so I have to embrace, because I might even get thinner as I go more down this road of like just simple, even more simple. I think the fruit mono meals are the best for meditation. One kind of food, just enough sugar to feed your brain. It's not about big muscles or athletics or anything. It's about peace and love and light. And that's I'm trying to let go of my attachment to being this guy with the chest on the YouTube and everything else. I mean, it's been beautiful. And it's hard for me to let go of that, because those were my glory days. Those were a guy, a bum, a drug addict, living on the street. One day, you know, it was Krista's RV. It was her money. And you know, she bought me a phone. She's the one that bought the computer. I was living in my van, an old Ford van. I had nothing. And then I made a YouTube video and everything changed. So I owe everyone so much, because I raised my daughters, you know, and I got out of debt. And now, you know, I have a roof over my head. Thank God, from the YouTube and the paradigm and all that stuff, you know, and I'm just grateful. So it just changed my life. So I want to honor it, but at the same time, you know, something more real. I was always real, as best as I could be. And the more I've learned, the less I know. There's so much that I don't know about life and health, really, that at first, when you're younger, you have all the answers. You stupid idiot. You have to have the cholesterol from pork or something like that. And it's like, really? I mean, I don't really know about that. But as you get more and more mature, you're like, you're less and less, you know, and that's really where I'm at right now. It's like, I'd rather know nothing than be burdened by knowing something, so that you can be childlike. Because when you get more innocent and childlike, and you don't have to project all this religion or food trip onto people, you can just be free and you can be happy. And that's all I've really wanted. And that's what more and more happiness this year, like joy and states of bliss that I've read about all my life. And I've been experiencing that energy going up my spine and into my brain, and just feeling like ecstatic states. And it's like, once you have a taste of that, you're trying to get to Shangri-La no matter what. You're like, you'll do anything, you know, to get back and stay in that space where you can feel the presence of God running you. And then the small you comes in with its fears, and then it contracts it. And then you get back, and then you're like, oh, you got to get rid of those fears, that contraction, and let it start flowing through you again. So it's just a matter of learning how to let the flow take place. How was that for a rant?
I could really feel your heart, you know, when you, that last rant. I could really feel your heart, more so than any other video I've ever watched of you. You know, it's like, and it's so beautiful. And when you mentioned about how YouTube changed your life, I think people see us, or YouTubers as people who are only maybe giving, but the receiving end of making YouTube videos is massive. Like when I first started making videos similar to you, I wasn't homeless and I wasn't doing drugs. I was being tortured alive by mercury poisoning. But I manifested my life through YouTube. I would talk about how I'm going to heal, how I'm going to get to the other side, and how I'm going to make a living doing what I want to do. And I literally watched it happen through my videos. And I would talk about a concept. I look a year and a half ago talking about a certain concept. Today, that concept, I live and breathe it. And doing it out in the public just makes you live up to it. It makes you want to own it. And I think there's just a beauty in that cycle of life where we give our energy to the public with as much knowledge as we have in that current day, in that current minute that you're filming that video. And then the next minute, that knowledge could be different. But you share that knowledge and at that snapshot in time, and someone receives that and it changes their life. And maybe they don't accept all of it, similar to what Brittany was saying. Maybe they're wearing sunscreen, maybe they can't receive all of it, right? But at the end of the day, this beautiful cycle of life that we have, which is even alive right now in this very video that we're making, where we're sharing our truths, being ourselves, sharing our light. People receive little bits and pieces. Some people are going to love your line. Some people are going to love Brittany's line. Some people are going to love my line. And people just choose lines they want to, go after in their life, and no one's right and no one's wrong. We're all just doing our best to bring love and restore harmony into humanity, because we are pretty messed up right now as a collective, So anyway, I just want to thank you for that. That was beautiful what you just said before.
It was. And I thought what you guys both said was really nice too. And I want to say something on that too, which is that I've talked about this in a few videos, and I do mention it sort of regularly, though probably not as often as I should, but YouTube also changed my life in a lot of ways. I started my YouTube channel when I was still sick, and I was only just starting to see some results from all these weird and wonderful detoxes and things I was doing. And, I documented all of my fasts, and big part of the reason why I did that was because being an indulgent person, it was just so hard for me to stay committed. But I knew that if all these people were counting on me, that I would, it kept me accountable, right? It gave me a society, and it gave me other people, and it gave me friends at a time when I was sick and didn't really have a lot. And honestly, I never envisioned that starting my YouTube channel and just sharing free videos from, my apartment living room would ever result in not only me completely healing all of my stuff, but also having a whole career based on it and being able to help people around the world and being able to have the life that I've always wanted, which is one where I'm not stuck in a location. I can work from anywhere, and I can do the work I do from anywhere. And I actually get to share stuff that I really believe in, that I have a huge passion for. And I feel that it's really helping the things that matter to me, like helping save planet Earth and helping, people to not suffer and have disease. And I just think it's a really beautiful thing. And so I did want to say that I love that comment as well. And I think it's important to touch base on the fact that when we give in any way, and that could just be meditating and offering peace to those around you, Dan, in this moment, or for you, Josh, some of the stuff that you share, or even people in your immediate life. And same for me. I think it's really just however we put good energy out there, we do get compensated back, right away. And I think it might not be in that moment. It might not be monetary even, but it's just a really nice flow of energy. I think when we're open and we're sharing love and our intentions are good, I think that it's not just the recipient that gets that, but you feel some of that back. And I think it's nice. It's a nice exchange, right? It's all about energy.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I want to say one other thing that I forgot to mention about the YouTube changing my life is I would talk about manifestation on my early videos, about how you can create a life that you love. You can make a living doing what you love. I wasn't doing it yet. I wasn't making a living yet. I wasn't even happy yet. And I was like, you could get happy with detox. You can make a living through detox. And none of those things were true for me, but I literally manifested it with belief, and that's just the power of the mind, really, that we could just do anything, Yeah.
Exactly. You know, it is all about the mind. And some people, they channel it through meditation. Other people, they channel it through exercise. Some people, they channel it through diet. You know, so there's just so many different facets of, but I think at the end of the day, what we're all trying to obtain is exactly that, right? It's the ability to manifest both externally and internally for ourselves and the world what we really feel. Like our thoughts really do make a difference. And some people, they use food to sort of purify their mind so that they can, you know, change their belief systems and all that. But at the end of the day, we're all kind of trying to do the same thing. And yeah.
To get our minds right, because our thoughts affect our system so dramatically. What's also so cool in that matter to some people, like, well, I'm just going to pray over this Whopper, you know, but the gut affects the brain, and the brain.
Whopper. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like, well, it's still going to cause your colon, so you might want to pray over your colon too, you know. But the gut affects the brain, and how all those molecules go up into the brain and feed the brain those very subtle nuances of the metabolites. But the brain, if it's stressed or worried or vexed, will also send signals down the nervous system and close off digestion. So you want to have really good, the best food that you can and the best thoughts that you can. Once you get that relay system going, brain, stomach, stomach, brain, stomach, and you get that just kick, and you've got that flow there, then the heart opens up in the center, you know? And that's when this whole system, all of those energy centers, all those endocrine glands or chakras or whatever world you live in are operating optimally. And then you're just, and you know, you feel that. When you feel that, you are so stoked. You're like, okay, how do I stay in this place? You want to, what did I do to get here? And how do I stay in this state of joy and happiness? Because you see what a blessing it is to everyone around you. That's my main motivation, to clarify myself and purify myself. And the people around me really motivate me to stay clear and stay bright and continue this path of cleansing and healing, in the sense of even the physical body, because with where we are, I mean, how far can we take this? Like, I'm just getting started. I'm gonna be, oh my God, I'm excited. We've got more fasting, we've got more mastery on the food, herbs, we've got body work, we've got brain regeneration, heart regeneration. I've got Kaya Kalpa, which is dark room regeneration, melatonin activation for the total regeneration of the body. I mean, I'm just getting started, because I was so far down from a long line of drug addicts that I'm just barely starting at zero. So if anyone wants to know why I'm still in it to win it, is because I see that there's so much more potential, and there's so much tools available at our disposal, that once you get a taste of the regeneration of your body, your heart, your mind, and your spirit, then you really have no other option except to continue on to keep digging at and creating your own potential by getting the hell out of the way, really, is what it is. So I'm going for it, man. I'm like hungry. I'm starving for more purity and more wholesomeness and clarity.
Totally. I'm in the same boat, you know, like years and years of detoxing, and I'm still learning all of these new things. I got ozone machine right there. That's an oxygen tank right there. So I'm going to be doing my own ozone therapy soon, and learning about this deuterium depleted water and a bunch of other things. But the point is that, you know, none of this stuff requires any discipline anymore. People look at it like, wow, man, why are you still doing all that stuff? How are you still doing all that stuff? How do you have the discipline to do all that stuff? I feel like when we achieve a level of harmony internally, none of these things they're not in friction with our lifestyle. So it's not like we need discipline in order to do it. Like, I'm sure you don't require, either of you guys would require any discipline to drink juice all day. For someone else, that's like, that's misery. For us, that would be a joy, right? So it's interesting how when we start vibrating and bringing that light into this vessel of consciousness, these things that people look at and say, why are you doing those things? Why are you still, they equate doing the work with trying to reduce pain. But in reality, that's just a whole new way of life, a whole new lifestyle, there's no discipline that needs to come in order to choose that life. Do you guys agree with that?
I do.
Well,
I
there
think.
was discipline,
Oh,
right?
go ahead.
There was at one phase.
Now it's habit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it depends on what. I mean, I'll be real about it. I still find fasting really hard. I don't know why. I think it's maybe my history of like eating disorder. Juice fasting is a little easier, and I'm usually good for most of the day. The evening, I start to be like, I want to chew a cucumber. But you know, it's just, I find that the water fasting is tough for me. I don't know why, like emotionally, I just find it really difficult. I think that eating clean is so easy, and doing anything health related, like if someone is like, you need to do a meditation class, or you're going to do yoga, or you're going to have, you know, a relaxation essential oil evening. None of those things are hard. Doing like, you know, like you said, ozone stuff, or soaking in Epsom salt baths, or doing detox modalities. It's exciting, especially if you come from a place where you were sick and you've seen progress. It's hard when you start. It's like the person that has to lose 100 pounds. It seems like they're about to climb Everest at the thought of losing 100 pounds. It seems so impossible and so daunting. But after you've lost your first 10 pounds, you're like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And then you lose another 10 pounds and another. And right, I think once you see results in a natural health lifestyle, you get actually inspired and excited to see how much further you can take it. And, you know, like Dan mentioned that when he was talking about the enlightenment, like he's hungry, he's starving for more of that, for more connection and more, you know, purity and all of that. And you, same thing, right? It's like once you know that you can get results doing these things and you just start feeling better and better, it actually gets a lot easier, right? Like for me, people, they'll watch me eat a big tahini salad, and I'm not eating like, as you know, a raw fruitarian diet or anything, but they'll be eating like just all kinds of cooked heavy animal product foods, and I'm eating this like crisp tahini salad, which is like my favorite meal in the world. And they're like, don't you want to eat what we're eating? I'm just like, no, like I love what I'm eating. Like I wouldn't eat this if I didn't love exactly how I made it and everything. So that's the thing, is it doesn't become as difficult to live healthy, especially if you have your goals in line. So if your goals are complete detox and purity like that, and then he has such a strong belief system behind what he's doing that drives him. And for me, it's more about balance. You know, I want to find balance, and I want to not put too much emphasis on it. And I'm just trying to sort of, you know, that's what I'm working on right now, is the balance aspect. So for me, as long as I live my life in a balanced way, and that I'm not too hard on myself about anything, then I feel really good about what I'm doing. And so it's just about knowing what it is that your goal and your purpose is for yourself and your growth in your lifestyle in that moment. And then, and then everything that aligns to that. So it just sort of feels exciting.
Yeah.
So Brittany, are you still interested in fasting?
I am. I'm actually doing, so I've been doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, for just since I cracked my rib, basically. And today is day 1 of a water fast. So I'm just going to do I don't know if it's going to be a super long one. Yeah. So I'm trying to heal my rib really quickly, because it's.
How long do you intend to fast for? I
don't know. I'm going to see how I feel. I find the first 4 days are the hardest. If I can make it past that, then it's sort of smooth sailing. It might just be a couple of days. This is kind of my busy season with work. And because I do a lot of like calls and written protocols, and I have currently a pretty large client base, and a lot of people, I guess, rely on me to be like, you know, up to snuff, and I can't really spend all day relaxing, and I'm currently living in the city. So there's a lot of things that are making fasting kind of suboptimal in this moment. So I'm really going to listen to my body. And if I just feel, it's also winter and cold, so I have no sun, no good air, you know, so depending on, I guess, how my body feels and how I'm able to maintain my current life and work schedule, then I guess I'll go. But I want to at least try for a few days, just to really give my body a chance to reset and to give my body a chance to heal this rib, because I cracked it, and then I went home to Montreal and had to move my entire luggage, my storage. So I had to move like 200 boxes, and then I spent all week, you know, picking up things for my mom, and so I ended up actually injuring it further. So I'm just trying to, you know, rest that out for a bit. And nothing heals faster than fasting. True. But I would love to do another 40-day water fast. It's so hard when you work full time, because especially when you work in the health field.
One already?
I've done
Did you do a 40-day water fast?
I did 35 was the longest, because at that time I was actually really thin, and my fasting supervisor kind of scared me. So I did a 12-day water fast with the intention to do 21 days. And I was having a lot of heart palpitations. So my fasting supervisor at the time, this is like earlier in my health journey, she advised me to stop my fast on day 12 because my heartbeat was like 32 beats a minute, which is really, really low. And even though I felt fine, but then 3 weeks later, I went back to eating and all that, and I just didn't feel good. I like knew I wanted to fast longer. So I went against what everybody told me to do, which was give it 6 months. And I actually went right away and did a 35-day fast. So I did 12 days, 3-week eating interval, not even on fruit. Like I was not even eating optimally in between, which was foolish then. And then I did a 35-day water fast right after. So essentially I did like 47 days in about, or 48 days in about a 2-month period of time.
And you've been blessed ever since.
It made a big difference. You know, I loved my experience of it. I actually made a bit of a mistake. I did like about 3 months after my fast of staying raw and eating really clean and doing all that stuff. And then I had a bit of emotional upheaval in my life. And I kind of like got into the eating bad habits, and I was traveling. So I got off the raw diet, and I ended up actually kind of like gorging on all kinds of like toxic random like tico food in Costa Rica and greasy stuff, just like totally off the regime. So I ended up like gaining a ton of weight, having all kinds of health problems. Like it was such an awful journey, but I like found the balance again. So I definitely would love to do a long fast again and do it proper like for a year after or something, you know, but fighting our own demons, right?
Yeah, no, it's amazing because we just continually get refined more and more. And you have already reached an incredible level of refinement. It's such an honor. Both of you have been a huge blessing to me today.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Especially you, Brittany. No offense, Josh, but you're just a very great reflection.
Oh, you hear that, Josh? I'm a reflection. No, no, that's so nice, Dan. I really appreciate that. And I feel the same way about you, both of you.
We're just so, because we are so rare indeed. And you know what? Okay, so we're the little weird, we're the unicorn walking through the field. Everyone's staring at us, because everyone else is horses, because no one wants to do 35 days and 12 days and keep going, and people ask me all the time, how long do I got to do this? And my answer always is the same thing: for the rest of your life. There is no end, so once you have that, everything just becomes easy. It's just only a matter of time before you master yourself, because you're in it for the long haul, because you can see that the work of physical cleansing and regeneration, emotional cleansing and regeneration, mental cleansing and regeneration, it's never going to stop. And even if you become enlightened, like Sivananda, he still never stopped his practices so that he could set a good example for all of his students. So he never stopped, even though he was walking around enlightened. He still meditated. He still wrote the mantras. He still did karma yoga and served everyone around him, served the sick, served the poor. And so we'll never stop doing good and refining ourselves. And, we're going to die building the best part of ourselves that we can, and in our death, we're going to be inspiring people at the deathbed. Don't worry about going to the plan, baby, and on our own deathbed, we'll continue to inspire people.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, it's exciting. It's an exciting journey. And, I was thinking about that actually the other day. I stumbled across one of Andrea Maritz's videos, and he's really awesome too. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, he's timeless. He passed away, but his videos are still there. Like he's, it's almost like I thought about that. I was like, I wonder what's going to happen to all the people that have YouTube videos. Is YouTube eventually going to be shut down, or are our videos going to be up there like hundreds of years from now? How weird is that?
And when they are, that 100 years from now, people are going to be like, Brittany, Dan, Josh, they were way ahead of their time. And I'm living for that. I know it, because they're going to be like, wow, raw foods. Back then it was so archaic, but now it's so obvious that life comes from life and death comes from death. You know, and so it's the light in the food. That's what I love. I get like, here's an orange that's 3 weeks old, and here's an orange right off the tree. Which one do you think I'm gonna eat? I'm gonna get the one right off the tree because it's the light that I want. That's what's made my life so awesome. That's what's changed my brain, changed my finances, changed my consciousness. It's just being like, and that light in that food connects you to the life stream. And then all this makes sense. And then the unity consciousness comes in. And then the men versus women, black versus white, Democrat versus Republican, vegan versus carnivore, it all disappears into just this one light of love. And we all need more love. We want to receive love and give love. I've narrowed it down to that. That's me. That's all I wanted. That's all I've ever wanted. And the way that I feel loved is when I get my head rubbed. It's like, finally someone's figured it out, you know. It's like, I'll take care of everything else if you rub my head. And that's it. And it took me forever to find the right one. I finally got that. It's so simple. Yeah. It's love. It's just love. That's what I feel today. I really feel invigorated.
Head rubbing and veganism.
The title of this video.
Rub my head, please.
I don't even think veganism is that important. I mean, the way we treat animals is horrific, but there are different contexts where the cow lives a whole life and you get the milk when it's appropriate, you know, or the goat's milk, and it's not even that. It's just that box. I mean, we have ruined the planet, and I do like to, I love to point out the fact that these animals are suffering horrifically, and then people are eating that, and I think people should be aware of that. But I've had so much negativity from both sides that I don't believe in any of it, because as long as you're negative, your diet is not working. Unless you want pure love.
You're at war with some other school of thought, then you're not in harmony, right?
Yeah. Because everyone's just at different levels, and there's different, like some people are like, they just want to build up their body and that's it. That's their reality. Other people are like, I just want to build the light. Well, what the hell does that mean, you weirdo? But if you know what I'm talking about, you are here to, you know, Buddha, let the light grow in you. Jesus, keep your lamp burning bright. I mean, it's just, how do you build the light?
I think there's different lines, right? So like, if we look at a video game, there's like a priest and a shaman and a warrior and a sage, right? Like World of Warcraft, for instance, there are all these characters. I really believe that in the flesh here, in this human earth experience, there are different archetypes of characters. And when you're always talking about the sage, right? So like, that is your line, right? That's the sage, that's your particular wisdom and line. You know, I feel more like I really connect with my animal, you know, so I really connect with the warrior and my animal. And, you know, there's an angel, there's an animal. My goal is to merge it all into this body and have it all in this body, not repressing anything, not running away from anything, and human being merged with spirit, you know? So every person has a different line, and the diet is going to be, as you talked about on our last show, Dan, the diet is going to be different according to, you know, what that line is or what that person's goals are, you know? So it's impossible to say one thing's wrong, one thing's right. Of course, the suffering is no doubt, you know, a miserable thing that's going on, the suffering of animals, you know, that it's not done with integrity the way that our ancestors did, you know, ate animals without a doubt. But anyway, the point is that there can't be anyone that's right and anyone that's wrong. We're all just on different lines on this and different timelines, you know?
Yeah,
I agree. And I think that that's apparent. We can see that just based on, I mean, I've worked with a lot of people, like thousands of people, and different people they're all on different diets. Not everyone, some of them are on similar diets, but the majority of them have differing aspects to their diet. And people heal from a host of different conditions on so many different diets, which means you can take the same person with 5 conditions, put them on 5 with the same condition, all 5 of them, put them on each a different diet, and as long as they resonate and believe in the diet they're eating, and it's something that's doable for them and they're consistent, they will see tremendous health results, even heal entirely. There are people that have healed on, paleo diets and, keto diets and like all kinds of things that maybe don't seem like they would be the most, high vibration diet or whatever. But there are also people who haven't healed on the purest fruitarian diets and all that. And I think that it's because it has to resonate with us. And, if a person is living a lifestyle that makes them feel that they're deprived in some way, or that just doesn't feel balanced for that person where they are in their life, I think that mental issue is what could be a hindering circumstance. So I definitely think we're all on different lines and on different, on different paths really. And it basically comes down to finding what's going to work for you, right? It's sort of like intuitive eating. It's intuitive living. It's doing things that, eat the foods, not that a practitioner tells you to eat or that a guru tells you to eat, but or that any of us tell you to eat, but really the foods that when someone names those foods to you, or when you write those foods down, that they feel like a yes, or that you do things that feel like a yes to you. And I think that if everybody just does what feels like a yes to them, and they actually listen to their heart and their intuition, most people will heal based on that alone. Because even as toxic as we are, there's an instinct. I knew when I was a toxic drug user that drugs were bad. I knew when I smoked that it was not what I really wanted to do. Like there was a conflict of soul going on. And I think that's true for most people. So
the intuition is the divine intelligence speaking, and that has the answers. And that's what we all need to learn. Like if there's one thing you could teach people about health, is to sit still and listen and get tuned in to the divine intelligence within you, which knows exactly what you need to do. But what happens is we get our minds get filled with, all these different things on Google and books and school and church. And then those mental constructs inhibit the awareness of the divine intelligence through the intuition. And then we don't have our own divine internal guidance system. And so everyone would do well to really learn to sit and learn to listen and develop a relationship with that divine intelligence, because it will tell you. And all those things, how the geniuses, they sit around and think about this problem for weeks or months or years on end, and finally one day when they're relaxed and not trying so hard, eureka, boom, they just get hit with the flash. And that's what happens for most of us. And then all of a sudden everything makes sense. What we've been working so hard on, this diet or getting healed or whatever, comes to us, and then we get those flash of insights from the unconscious when the system is relaxed. That's why I like the meditation, because you can kind of develop the ability to stay tuned in to that intuition all the time. And then you can just move slowly in that direction that you need to go in order to, because it'll guide you. This relationship is killing you. This job is killing you. This city is killing you. This food over here, this addiction. It'll tell you, and you'll know, and then you can start the process of eliminating that, superfluous lifestyle habit or person or environment to get you back to your own freedom and peace.
We're both like, amen.
This has been a beautiful beautiful episode. I think my favorite recording I've ever done. I've done like freaking 50 of these already. So I could really feel the love and feel the connection and the beauty in all of our paths and journeys and the authenticity. So I just want to thank everyone.
I feel super blessed. Like I got a lot of healing today.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Just by you two holding space.
Yeah.
So this video should definitely go up for sure. Why don't you plug your thing, Brittany, real quick for my people?
Hold on a second.
What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, my YouTube channel is Montreal Healthy Girl. So you guys can check out. It's basically a free resource for healing from disease naturally. So I basically share remedies on almost every condition you can think of and sort of how to address it. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Link down below for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, we love you, bro.
Yeah, Josh Mason, the Detox Dudes is my channel. And yeah, I talk about merging spirituality with detoxification, and I dive deep into heavy metal and parasite detox. I'm on a lectin avoidance diet. I do eat meat occasionally, but you know, so I'm a little bit of a different school, a little bit of a different line than these guys. But I went through 3.5 year suicidal journey, severe panic attacks, severe mental anguish, and came out the other side using intense heavy metal detox protocols, and removed hundreds and hundreds of parasites throughout the process, and constantly evolving and trying to get more whole and more centered, and just more true. I talk a lot about emotions and cutting people out of one's life and protecting one's heart. And, you know, so I'm just trying to balance all schools of thought together into one harmonious path.
Oh, and you too, Dan, share your info
Yeah, Dan,
also for any of our viewers that don't actually, that might not know you yet.
You with us, Dan?
Oh. Isn't that nice, Mr. Popular? Here's the love key code, and I am.
Your video is stuck.
Liferegenerator.
Your video is stuck, so they can't.
What's that, bro?
Your video was stuck for the past like 30 seconds. You're good now.
Okay. Well, there. I want to make sure everyone sees that the love key code there, and my channel is Liferegenerator on YouTube. Dan the Man, can you dig it, baby? Thank you so much, you guys.
Oh, this was again. So nice.
Fabulous.
Yeah, this was really nice, and I feel inspired.
I'd love to talk more about fasting. I'd love to talk more about fasting with you. Once you have a few of these experiences, well, you already went. You must have felt the peace. Like nothing can shake your peace when you're that deep. And then you start eating again, and you're like knocked around like a leaf in the wind. You're like, why does food make me, get so wavy gravy,
Oh yeah, there's definitely a clarity and a peace and a calm that comes with fasting, and there's a euphoria also, and just a clarity of mind. I definitely feel that. You feel more sensitive. I was sensitive to music and noise and sounds and people and energies. But I really liked it. I felt connected. And, after my fast, I felt happy for months, like nonstop, incessantly even, but yeah, we'll definitely chat more about it. And it was so nice connecting to both of you. Josh, I always love chatting with you. Dan, it was honestly a pleasure getting to meet you and chat with you and all of your insights and everything. And we should definitely do this again. It was great.
Yeah, I'm totally down to do it again. And I have another idea, is that we could maybe take a poll on all of our channels and see who we could have a fourth person join in at some point. And if the commenters want to say who their favorite fourth person or their favorite health YouTuber would be to join us, that could vibe in this vibe. I was thinking maybe Dr. Kassar, he's a friend of mine. Maybe, I don't know, anyone, I'm open. So everyone.
Yeah, he's great. That's actually a great idea. We could create like a community discussion.
Yeah. I think we should have a monthly community discussion amongst all the coolest health YouTubers in the world.
Ooh, are we part of the coolest health YouTubers?
That's what I've been manifesting. I don't know if you guys can see this and feel this, but that's what I've been manifesting. So yeah.
I like it. It's nice because it builds a sense of community. And I think it's like Dan was saying, we're the unicorn. And I think sometimes we all feel a little bit like we're so hardcore in the way that we live our lives. I think it's really nice to connect to other people that share that same passion, even if they're not doing the exact same thing as we are. It's still in the same realm of like, we're all heading in the same direction. And I think it's such a great idea. And I love that. And I love that you've reached out and set all this up and everything. I'm all about it.
Let's let everyone know who the real maestro is behind this situation.
Take your moment of glory, Josh. Enjoy. You wear that crown with pride.
I'm the least popular YouTuber of all of us, but I'm the real brains behind this operation.
That's right. That's right.
Thank God you know how to use the technology, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, amazing show, and
Yes.
definitely looking forward to chatting again.
Bye, guys. Have a wonderful day.
See you next time.
Bye.